Good morning, everybody. Scott Mayboy here, your financial shopper. Hope you're all having a great day and survived the storms. Here in Winthrop, we got that which luckily I was not in the kayak as planned. Sky looked a little gray, and I was like, hey, let's postpone and see if this blows over. And it didn't. So I might have been broadcasting from Portugal at this point. So anyway, a couple things. Been posting some articles recently that I thought were really interesting. There was one a day or so ago about the government's plans for your 401k. That is very, very relevant. Your 401k is nothing but a tax code. So the plans I structure for people are covered under contract law. So can they be changed? Of course they can, but it's covered by contract law, and the government would have to go in and start disrupting an existing contract between two parties. Very unlikely to happen. There's always the chance that going forward, a new contract would have to adhere to new rules, but for them to retroactively create rules for a contract that was legal when it was written would be highly unlikely and very disruptive, so I don't expect that would be happening. But the article about a 401k or the government interfering with your 401k, a 401k isn't a contract. It is simply a tax code. I've talked about this before, IRS section 401, paragraph K, and it talks about doesn't mention anything about retirement. It talks about putting money aside that you don't pay income tax on, and when you sell it, you pay income tax at the rate that you active when you sell it. That's all it says. So it has nothing to do with retirement. It's a tax law. It can be changed at Congress's will, and that is one reason why I am not a huge fan of 401ks in general. But if you're working, you get a match, so on and so forth. But the couple I sat with earlier this week in Swampscott, she recently retired, asked me about her 403b. While I'm talking to her, the husband says, well, I have a 401k from a few years ago when I retired. So they both now retired, and I said, why leave it at the old employer? Consider moving some of it. That leads to the other article. Move it to something that you control, something, and we could argue, where it should go. Obviously, not all of it should go to one place. You want diversification, but why leave it with a former employer who has you don't control it. So now the government's interfering with your retirement, and your former employer is interfering with your retirement because they can change they can change companies. It's Fidelity today. They decide to go with Vanguard next year. Your account gets moved. You have no choice. So eliminate that. It's your money. You control it is a much better strategy in my mind. The other thing, there was an article about annuities should be part of everyone's retirement plan or default to everyone's 401k. There's a lot of people who hate annuities. It's a dirty word. There's at least 7 different types of annuities. So to brush, a broad brush stroke with all annuities are bad is crazy. But here's the thing. What this author was arguing is if you put some of your money into an annuity, and let's say you're using a deferred annuity that still grows. So let's say you have $100,000. You put $100,000 into a deferred annuity. You live on other funds. You do your withdrawal thing for 10 years. You retire at 65, at 75. You have the annuity. You can turn on an income stream. You can pull all the money out. You can pull some of the money out. There's no penalties. Yes, you have to pay taxes, but you have to pay taxes anyway because it's a 401k and you haven't paid taxes yet. That's the rules. So, but you can defer the income to see if you need it. If you don't need it, you leave it for your beneficiaries. You pull it out in lump sum and have a party. You do whatever you want, but there it is sitting safely and growing. So it was a really kind of interesting idea. It could be used immediately to augment income. It could be delayed, allow it to grow. And of course, the longer you wait, the more income you'll have from it. So just some ideas. Again, happy to answer any questions. Oh, and one last point. On one of the town Facebook pages, somebody mentioned to me, there are other people at the senior center who do what you do, and they also don't charge. And I absolutely agreed with her. I am not in competition with Shine counselors, but here's the difference. I am licensed by the state of Massachusetts, Commonwealth of Massachusetts. I am appointed or certified for 2020 and 2019 Medicare plans. I can assist you in purchasing a plan if somebody wants me to, and I can talk about all the plans available for a Medicare recipient, whereas a Shine counselor, by federal law, not my rule, it cannot. The only people who can tell you about Part D and Part C are people who are licensed by the state they're practicing in and certified for the year they're practicing in, if that's a federal certification. That's it. You need to have both of those things in order to even talk about Part C and Part D. So you go with a Shine counselor, and I'm not knocking them. They're volunteers. They're typically retirees, but they can't give you the full picture. And then if you say, hey, I need help enrolling, they can't help you with that because that would be illegal. So many of the people I meet with have already met with at least one Shine counselor, and they got a ton of information. It's confusing, it's information overload, it's the Medicare system, and then you're more confused when you get home and look at and you lay out all the paperwork. So, not in competition with Shine counselors, they do a great thing, but the example or the analogy I usually use is, listen, you can do your taxes yourself, you can go to a CPA, you can go to somebody who's a certified tax person at an H&R Block or something, or you can ask your neighbor to do them. And there's also volunteers who do them. But the bottom line is, if they all cost you the same amount, I think most people would go to the CPA. I mean, you want to go to the guy with the degree and the years of experience, and he's charging you the exact same thing as your neighbor's going to charge you to do your taxes. Most people go with the CPA. Same exact scenario. You can go with me, you can do it yourself, you can ask your neighbor what they have, you can go to a Shine counselor. Makes no difference. You can go to Medicare. Makes no difference. The difference is experience, licensing, certifications, and since you're not paying me to help you, and you're not paying any of the others, it's all the same price. So what do you got to lose? You don't pay me anything, and you don't pay more to work with me. So the policy is the policy, whether you call up the carrier directly and purchase it, or you buy it from me. So I've gone long today. I apologize. Hope everyone has a great day. Be well. Enjoy the day. Talk to you soon. Any questions or comments, feel free to contact me. Be well.